Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Saturn Slam review. We are doing it, live on tape, much like NXT on Christmas Day was live on tape.
Live on the rope of the square variety, by which I mean they were in a ring, which was a
Yes,
square
and
circle.
we had lots of cutaways to the Control Center featuring one of my favorite sports commentators, Pat McAfee, the lovely Kathy Kelly, and Sideshow Bob's bastard child, Sam Roberts.
Featuring the lovely sound of friendly animosity that almost sounds like it's going too far
I mean, like Sam
constantly.
Roberts, I think he's taken his gimmick. I think he decided, I remember he was pretty neutral, and then he just decided one day that he was going to turn heel for no particular reason, and he's taken it very far.
I'm just like, is everything okay over there?
The
Oh,
dude
okay.
looks like a cross between Art Garfunkel and fucking Sideshow Bob. And I guess he had a show on Sirius XM. Perhaps still has a show. I've never heard it. I have no idea who he is, but he's been on WWE television for like 2.5 years now. Well, probably pretty close to as long as we've been doing this. Um, but anyway, he was rather inconsequential to the episode, as it would turn out.
Yes,
Um,
it was basically a glorified transition
yes. So they
between
had
the
some matches they taped at Full Sail, I assume after or before the last show they did live from there. And they had some matches they taped at the Barclays Center after, I think, SmackDown.
that sounds right.
So
It's
the
like
crowd for the Barclays Center matches was not super hot, but they were actually pretty lively, uh, all things considered,
Well,
compared to what I would have expected.
and the Barclays Center is always a great crowd.
Yeah. And it,
It's
it
basically,
was it was coming up on a holiday weekend. You know, it was the Friday before. Um, First off, SmackDown's on Friday now, so it's not like
yes.
a Tuesday and you have to be ready for work in the morning. So I think more people would stay later, and it was before the holiday weekend, so it's not like you're gonna get cheated out of days off.
Mm-hmm. Perfect
So,
choice.
all things considered, did pretty well. Also, this show did really well in the ratings, surprisingly. Despite it being Christmas Day, it pulled in 831,000 viewers, which is
Really.
pretty incredible.
It's
I
been done on some weeks, some non-holiday weeks.
Yeah, I mean, people might look at that and be like, "Oh, that's the unopposed number, really?" I'm like, you have to remember, this was Christmas Day. Like, I didn't watch it. I don't think Peter watched it.
No, I
I
had
I
dinner
watched
with
I
my
literally
family.
watched this episode of NXT today. That's how far back it got pushed on my burner. Um, and it still did 831,000 people. Much better than it did this past week, where they aired a best of show against a live Dynamite, which drew a series low 548,000 viewers to Dynamite's 967,000, which honestly I think the Dynamite number really should have been higher.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is. I guess I'm the eternal optimist because I'm like, NXT just got like a free 500,000 views
Yeah.
on I mean, week to head to head they didn't get it, but like during Christmas head to head they got 100% of it.
Yeah. Um well, yeah, they did. So there's what we learned from this is that there were about 800,000 people who are going to watch wrestling on Wednesdays no matter what. They don't particularly care if it's NXT or AEW. And then there's another 800 or so thousand that will watch based on what's going on. I know I personally, when I saw it was a best of show, flipped over the TNT and watched Dynamite live for the first time and couldn't even fucking tell you how long.
I was like, I'm just gonna watch Dynamite tonight because I hadn't watched NXT at that point. I was like, I don't want to miss anything that I've hadn't gotten caught up on yet. and I realized, oh, it's the award show. They come out. We'll talk quickly about the award show because it was kind of silly.
Yeah,
I don't know how it was last year, but they just came out to no audience. They just walk up and
I
and
thought it was
Regal's like, "Here,
if
have an
I
award."
if I remember correctly, they just it was just in the studio. They would say, "Okay, here's the category. Here are the nominees. This person won." And I don't even think that person was in the studio. They would just throw to a highlight package of that person.
Yeah,
Um, but
but the big time TV now.
as soon as I flipped over and saw the control center crew, I was like, Dynamite.
Yeah,
As much as I may love Pat McAfee and Kathy Kelly, I have other things to do with my time than watch a award show. When I have my own award show, damn it.
coming out around the same time as this.
Yeah, probably.
You can watch it right after. Ooh.
Yeah, it'll probably be same day or day delay, depends on if I remember or not. But anyway, we'll discuss the Christmas edition of NXT, which featured the NXT North American Open Challenge match, answered not by, as we predicted, the Velveteen Dream. I guess he's not ready to compete, which, it's fine if he's not ready, but that felt like a missed opportunity. But instead, I was actually quite pleased with the replacement because if you recall, when we reviewed the Evolve 10th anniversary show, there was one guy in particular I said to keep an eye on because he's got a future in this business. And that man was Austin Theory. And out came Austin Theory.
He's there to wrestle a match. This is it's a sub theme of this show. The ever efficient Papa is always looking for more than one thing to do on his shows, and this I feel like doubled as promo for Worlds Collide. There's a lot of different brands on here.
They did, in fact, announce the main event of Worlds Collide on this show as well, which is a match that I personally am very excited about, and we'll get to that at the appropriate time. But they had a heck of a match. Austin Theory looked really good here. No surprise, he's in there with Roderick Strong, so even if he weren't good, which I maintain he is, he still probably would have looked pretty good. They went a long time, every bit of like 15 or 18 minutes, TV time at least.
Yeah, they had a full match packed in there.
Theory got a lot of offense in, more than I perhaps would have thought, which means that they're probably planning on pushing him sooner rather than later. They traded big moves. They got the crowd really into it. There was a "This is awesome" chant. Of course, it's Full Sail. That's like obligatory. If your match doesn't get a "This is awesome" chant, you fucked up.
You've strayed from the path.
Strong won after giving him about 50,000 backbreakers during the course of the match, finishing off with a End of Heartache into the Stronghold for the submission victory. Theory busted out a really cool move that I think he should use as a finish, which was he did a torture rack into a sit-out powerbomb, which is as cool as it sounds.
It was really choice. He wasn't the one. Now, I watched this a little while ago. I'm a little fuzzy. There was someone on this show. They were doing like a figure four sort of suplex or something. It was really strange. I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining.
I remember seeing that, but
it's a true figment of my imagination.
It could be real. Figure four suplex. Trying to vision my head of what that would look like.
Yeah, like they did the leg figure four.
Oh, they grapevine the legs and then did the suplex.
I think. Oh, I might have to go back and watch and figure out what the fuck I was thinking of.
Might have to investigate that.
Mystery, kids.
That's
If you know what the fuck I'm talking about, god damn, I need you in my life.
please.
Please tell me what I was thinking of. It might have been even on like AEW maybe.
That
I
seems like
honestly
an
don't know.
AEW crazy move that they would do. Oh, I think it was in the Young Bucks match. That seems like a move that would happen in a Young Bucks match.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the studio, and they yammered for a minute about really nothing of significance. They threw back to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. There was a split announce team. Beth and Tom Phillips were calling the matches in Brooklyn, while Nigel and Mara were calling the matches in Full Sail. And two-man booth, thumbs up. Both of them were pretty good. Like, Beth had to carry a lot more of a load here, and I think she acquitted herself quite well. I've been critical of her commentary at times, but I thought she did fine here. And this just proves the theory that 3 announcers is one too many.
It's a duo is enough. And we had another great match here at the Barclays Center. Swerve Scott and Jack Gallagher.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen a Jack Gallagher match in approximately 8 years. And he wrestles much as I remember him wrestling. This was a solid match. Nothing particularly spectacular. Swerve showcased all his flashy agility things, and Gallagher did a lot of cool mat wrestling. It was a well put together match. When I say nothing spectacular, I mean the bar for that has been raised. But this match happened on like Raw or SmackDown. People would be saying, "Well, that was a great match on Raw last night."
Yeah.
But on NXT, it's I don't calling it average seems derogatory, but when you're grading on the average curve of NXT match quality, that's about where this falls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm into Swerve Scott. He's got a great work rate. He's real consistent, and he's one of those guys who, if you put him in the ring with the right guy, he can just like make it pop, and he'll be fine in any other time.
Yeah,
he's got a high ceiling on him.
He's got a lot of upside, and I mean, after the whole what happened with ACH/Jordan Miles, I bet WWE feels kind of foolish for putting him over in that breakout tournament. He is no longer with the company.
Whoops. Yeah. But yeah, if they're still if they're still worried about that hole being filled, which they probably aren't by now, I'm sure. The the wrestling immunoresponse system is kicked in fully for a few weeks now.
Yeah, they're just like, let's push Cameron Grimes like he actually won. No one will know the difference.
You remember he stomped that one guy and won in 15 seconds.
Poor dude. There was a bumper segment to bridge the gap between matches with more studio crew. They hyped up next week on NXT, where it was back to Full Sail live, and then we had another match at Full Sail that was not live. This one was Candice LeRae versus Tainara Conti. Tainara Conti's gotten better. I would still say she's not good, but she would be someone of her talent could really make an impact in like AEW's women's division.
Yes. I feel bad saying that, but yes, she has.
She would be one of the. I think she would be like one of the 4 best workers in AEW's women's division if she jumped ship ever. But here, I'd say she's middle of the pack now. She has gotten quite a bit better. I will give her credit for that. And Candice LeRae continues to impress. I didn't see it at first. It took me a long time to get to this point where I finally see what everyone was saying with Candice LeRae, but I see it now, and it's there, and I can't not see it. Can't unsee it.
It's value. It's the core of quality there. Talking about AEW, that is kind of interesting. I just feel like they haven't, of all like those big pickups from WWE that they had at the beginning when they started out. Not a lot were women.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Well, their
They
idea was that they were going to showcase all these Joshi wrestlers, the Japanese women that U.S. audiences might not be super familiar with, and that was going to be like their cruiserweights in the 90s with WCW. But so far, we have Emi Sakura, Riho, who apparently had commitments with another company in Japan and hasn't been on television until last week. She was like off for like 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hikaru Shida, who are all good, but the problem with their plan, I think, was that WWE already got the top 2 Joshis in the world, top 3 if you want to include Asuka, with Io Shirai and Kairi Sane.
Whoops. Yeah, they've really snapped up that segment there and put them to very good use.
Yes. Although I've heard chatter that there's possibility that Io Shirai might want to go back to Stardom. Because this is purely rumor. But I heard that she's upset. She's engaged to Evil in New Japan, and she's upset that they live so far apart, and she's making less money in NXT than she would have been in Stardom. So the thought is she's going to get called up to the main roster soon in a play to get her to stay.
I don't know. That'll be really interesting, because like those are 2 very large incentives to return.
Yeah. Well, she'd be making far more money on a main roster contract than she is currently in NXT. If that's enough to like make it stay, but like you only get like 2 days, especially main roster road schedule. You get like 2 days off a week or something like that. It's a 16-hour flight back to Japan from most places in the United States.
Not gonna happen.
It still doesn't really
crunch the numbers. The other thing I feel like is like she's gonna be Io Shirai on the main roster, and I don't know if that's the kind of place you want to put your career. I don't know. The main rosters, you get a lot more eyeballs on you, you get a lot more notoriety, but you also things flatten out a bit, as we've seen with literally everyone who's come up.
You're outside the protective nest that Papa H has cultivated down in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's any truth to those rumors, but if there is, my prediction is that she does end up back in Stardom. So enjoy her while you can. They also want to poach Kairi Sane back, but I have not heard anything about her being dissatisfied with her place in the company.
Mm-hmm. NXT has taught me a lot about Buddhist mindfulness. The roster is like one of those sand paintings that you make it and it's beautiful. You take all day on it, and then it just you throw it in the river and the whole thing just washes away.
We had another match at first there was actually let me rewind. The match ended. Candice LeRae won with the Cabrata. They threw back to the studio. And then they threw to a profile for Arturo Ruas, who's coming back from his Evolve excursion, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another match taped in Brooklyn between Dijakovic and Bronson Reed.
Quite the interesting matchup.
I did not care for this.
Yeah, it was okay. Like I said, I was not expecting. When I think of a matchup, I don't think of like Bronson Reed against Dijakovic. I don't think they're.
They did not work
not gravitated
super well
to
together. He won, but like when I saw Dijakovic come out, I was like, cool, we'll see what Dijakovic's up to. And then when Bronson Reed came out, I was like, oh man, because Bronson Reed, he's at a certain level, And granted, he put Dijakovic over, but it was a very competitive match. And watching this, Dijakovic really feels like they're kind of cooling him off. Like, he was thrown into War Games at the last minute. It feels like they kind of view him as just another guy, which he's a special kind of talent. And the fact that they're, like, pushing Keith Lee the way they are, and Dijakovic is just kind of, like, wading through the mid-card makes me sad.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the impression, at least to me, of how it comes off on TV is he's like the Luigi to Keith Lee's Mario. In more ways than one.
Yes, I was about to say that's actually a pretty apt comparison.
And yeah, Bronson Reed. This is not a knock on Bronson Reed. I think he has a place. He has a place on the card, and it was not here. There's plenty of, opportunities for him. I just think this was strange.
Yeah. Dijakovic pinned him after a choke bomb. And it was a match.
Can Bronson Reed come out to Seth Rollins' theme music next week in honor of the Australian fires? Burn it down.
He's got the little Shield 2.0 going on Raw these days with AOP.
Oh, hey, AOP!
Yeah, they're
back. In it.
Good. They plugged the main event for World Collide, and it's going to be the Undisputed Era against Imperium in an 8-man tag match.
Yes.
Which is an interesting question of who goes over.
I think the primary driver on this was they wanted the dream match. They're like, it's there, is Undisputed Era going to carry the gold into the next year? Probably not. So let's do it while everyone's fucking champs, and we can just this is the little kid 5-scoop ice cream sundae of wrestling.
I mean, this feels special. This feels like it's going to be the same sort of energy as the first match between the Shield and the Wyatt family at Elimination Chamber in 2014, which is an amazing match. If you've never seen it, go back and watch it for sure. This has that same kind of energy. If I had to make a prediction, I would say the Undisputed Era probably goes over, pinning like Alexander Wolf, because definitely Walter can't get pinned. His team can lose, but he can't get pinned. And I don't think you want to have your team of 4 champions lose outright. So I figure that they're probably going to win, but they won't pin Walter.
Yeah. While we're talking about other shows that they announced here, was this where they announced the Dusty Rhodes the bracket?
I think that was on the award show, which I did not watch. Maybe did they? I don't.
Well, they may have announced on the award show. I watched it. All right. So first match, Imperium versus Forgotten Sons. Next to Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster.
That is an interesting team.
On the other side, we have Grizzled Young Veterans versus Kushida and question mark.
Grizzled Young Veterans?
They are a tag team from NXT UK.
Okay.
They were in the selection for Tag Team of the Year. On virtue of being there.
Oh, wait.
I'm sure
I think I remember them. They were on the TakeOver Cardiff.
Yeah.
I think they were champions going into that show. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So again, they're wrestling Kushida and mystery participant.
Ooh.
And then the final one is Gallus versus our boys UE.
Interesting.
So I'll send you the bracket picture here. It's nothing like it's all just like it's good. It'll be good.
It will be good.
No huge surprises, I don't think.
No, I think Gallus is maybe, or maybe I guess probably the Forgotten Sons is probably the weak link, And there are a lot of intriguing matchups though, and I am interested to see who Kushida's mystery partner is. Um, my it's either going to be the Oddfellow pairing of him and Cameron Grimes, or maybe they throw Austin Theory into the mix.
That would be nice.
But
because I don't know how Kushida and Grimes would be.
I
Although they could be an odd couple team because they
Yeah.
have history beef with each
they're
other.
feuding currently, which is why I think it's going to be them and like a sort of anything you can do, I can do. Like the early days of Sheamus and Cesaro, where they were still like coming off that feud and didn't like really like each other that much, and they're just beating dudes up to see who could do it better. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be Grimes. But I think it'd be a cool way to get Austin Theory into the mix here in a big role on television.
Well, now you've wet my whistle with the prospect of the bar for the youth of today, for the millennials, even though we're still millennials.
Yes.
Yeah. Which did the Undisputed Era form after one of the Dusty Rhodes Classics? They won one year.
Roderick Strong joined them in the finals.
That's what it was.
Takeover New Orleans, which was met with hearty applause from me. When he hit the end of Heartache on Pete Dunne, I'm like, yes!
It's a 4-man squad. And then they got $1 billion.
That was my favorite too, because they were the champions, and they weren't in the actual tag team classic at all, and they still won it and carried the trophy around for months. It was fantastic. Bianca Belair.
I'm sorry. You reminded me. There was a funny thing during the award show because Adam Cole got like 3 awards, and the other UE got the tag team got an award for best tag team. So like Roddy had nothing he had to hold Adam's like extra awards. And it was so funny watching them try and like, don't draw attention to it, guys. Don't draw attention to the fact that Roddy has no awards. We'll all just hug.
Well, to be fair, I mean, wasn't Roderick Strong teaming with O'Reilly for most of the year because Fish was hurt?
Yes.
Or was that last year? I don't remember.
They did. Might have been a little bit last year, a little bit this year. Yeah. I don't know. They're very fluid, at the very least. They're like a team or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. But I think the NXT awards might mirror mine a little bit. Bianca Belair had a highlight package and then a match where she beat Shotzi Blackheart, who is someone of esteem. She has some history to her. She got a lot of offense in, a lot more than I would have thought for the nature of this match.
So was it me, or did Bianca just kind of give her like the stink eye for the whole match? She was like, oh.
She didn't seem particularly happy to be working with her. I don't know if that's just her character or they really have some beef, but
it was funny to watch. Yeah,
I wasn't blown away with it. Belair won with the KOD. Then we had the main event back in Brooklyn: Keith Lee and Leo Rush versus the odd tag team of Damian Priest and Tony Nese.
This was a lovely hodgepodge of a match.
I speculated last week, or last time we did the show, that they might be turning Damian Priest's face because of his reaction in the match against Killian Dane. They are not doing that yet, at the very least, because he definitely worked heel in this match.
Yes. Keith Lee and Leo Rush coming out with that fucking New Day energy.
Yeah.
Played a Christmas cookies.
They did the Keith Lee Loch Ness monster rising from the abyss spot, but he wore a Santa hat, and it was far less cool than when he did it with Finn Balor.
Yes.
The
Much more
scowl
hilarious,
wasn't there. Yeah. He did not bust out the patented Keith Lee scowl, but he got over. He caught Damian Priest on a tope con hilo and threw him into Tony Nese and then onto the apron. Poor Leo Rush got chokeslammed onto the apron like 4 times in this match.
Yes. He had a full course dinner of that fucking edge of the ring.
Yeah. They got the heat on Rush for forever, and then Keith Lee tagged in and ran wild, but then he got cut off, and then they exchanged some big moves, and then Lee pinned Nese with the jackhammer. Or he didn't pin Nese with the jackhammer. He hit the jackhammer, and then Rush frog splashed off his shoulders after eating some of the cookies, despite being dead moments ago. They, on commentary, called it a sugar rush, and I was like, well, this is as main roster as NXT has ever been in my time watching it.
I feel it's all coming back to me now watching this. I remember thinking during this match, I'm like, Keith Lee and Leo Rush is part of it. There's some part of there that they took like the soul, the strand from Cass and Big Cass and Enzo Amore. They're just like, here, take the last of their energy. They will be a tag team again.
We've been saving this for years.
Here's a plate of cookies and a Santa hat. Go fucking nuts.
Yeah, this match was pretty good. When you look at it on paper, you're like, how the fuck was this match ever put together? But it actually worked pretty well. And to be honest, I kind of thought that I would see Keith Lee and Leo Rush as a team in the Dusty Classic. But alas, it was not to be.
It's okay. Can't get them all.
Can't get them all if you don't get the first one. All right, AEW Dynamite from New Year's Day 2020. This was a perfectly fine Dynamite show. For once, I really don't have many criticisms of the show.
Mm-hmm. They were back in Daly's place. So, yes. Again, another sort of homecoming, it's a homecoming edition. That's what they called it.
Because they're in Jacksonville. Daly's place was actually a pretty cool aesthetic for the arena. The matches on the show were good. They didn't shoot any angles during commercial break or any angles that were really dumb. So, points on that. They put over the guys that they should be putting over as top stars. So, points on that. And, I just really didn't have anything to object to. Taz was a guest commentator on this show, and I thought he did really well. He and JR have worked together before, and that was readily apparent listening to them. Excalibur stayed out of their way for the most part and just called moves, which is really the best role for Excalibur. The less he talks about anything other than a move that has been hit, the better.
Yeah, and I think JR, on the flip side of that coin, JR works much better with people that he knows.
Yes.
He has a good rapport with.
When it is just him and Excalibur, I don't know if there's actual heat there or it's just a generational clash, but if
it's not hot, it's cold, if you know what I'm saying.
They do not work well together and at times don't seem to like each other very much, but that's really neither here nor there. The show opened with a video package detailing the Elite's string of bad luck. This is one of the first time on television they've acknowledged the existence of the Elite and have called them that while showing the members. Then we got a Darby Allin video package before his entrance. He was accompanied to the entrance stage by a singer. Taz identified him as the singer of Ghost Machine, a band I have never heard of.
Ditto.
There was no graphic identifying him. Excalibur thanked Taz for the explanation of who this random man was. And then Arn Anderson appeared on the entrance stage. So he's got another job. They hit Cody's music, and Arn was identified as, quote, the head coach of the Nightmare Family. If this doesn't lead to a match between him and Sean Spears with Tully Blanchard in the other corner, what is this all for?
Nothing. It's all for naught.
The match they had was actually really good. I like Darby Allin a lot. I've liked him ever since we went to Northeast Wrestling Resurrection, where he wrestled Pentagon Jr. in a match that he won me over in that match, because I remember they billed it as a dream match. I'm like, who the fuck is Darby Allin? How is this a dream match? And then they actually had the match. I'm like, oh yeah, that was really fucking good.
Well, that's who Darby Allin is. Every time I see Darby Allin wrestle, I am always reminded of something I heard a long time ago, and by a long time ago I mean maybe a month ago. Of I don't know who it was, but they were talking. It was like an interview. They brought up Darby Allin, and the guy was like, "Yeah, no, he's always been amazing. He's been like an amazing standout talent, and that's why they have him do his whole like Daredevil thing, his whole shtick." And you really gotta. If you wanna, you should use him for more than that.
Yes,
that's what they're saying. That he can do it, but it's a waste to have him just do that.
Yeah, I don't think you should pigeonhole him as the guy who does all these crazy, stupid stunts. I think he, like you said, he has a lot more to offer than that. It's kind of like the Jeff Hardy paradigm, where he did a lot of crazy stunts in his matches for a long time and it got him over, and WWE waited forever to push him as a top guy. He finally won the title in 2008, and then he fucked off again in 2009.
Yep.
But I hope that AEW doesn't wait too long. I think they're doing a good job of building him slowly on the down low, and I think maybe in a year it'll be the right time to put the strap on him.
That would be great.
Especially, I think they would do well to introduce some sort of secondary singles title for the men. Because there are a lot of guys who don't really have anything to feud over.
Right, which contributes to the ever-present problem of, here's a match, here's some guys in the match.
Yeah. It's like you can get around that. Like, not every match has to be for a title. You can get around it with like feuds on a personal level, but sometimes it's difficult to like take these complete strangers and come up with an impotence for them to have a personal feud.
Right. And as we saw with the NXT show we just talked about, it's not a problem to have like, here's two guys wrestling. But with AEW, it's I don't even want to call it a crutch, because it's not like they're trying to lean on it. It's just that they don't have the options.
Yeah.
know,
there's so much
it's
of
the
here's
default.
two guys wrestling on AEW, and I mean, this isn't entirely their fault because they've only been on television for so many weeks. A lot of the times it's here's two guys you really don't know that well wrestling, which is something that NXT has done a better job of, like building the characters so you care about them or have like some investment in them. Like, I know who Damian Priest is. I've seen vignettes for his character. I have an idea of who he is. He's a guy who wants to be, infamous. He loves the nightlife. He's the Archer of Infamy. He's got a nickname. He's got an entrance. He does this.
He's got arms from here to Timbuktu.
He's gangly man. It's like I get it. And when I see him wrestle a guy like Keith Lee, who I know his deal, I'm more invested in it than when AEW trots out, oh, here's so-and-so. Here's fucking Trent against...
Yeah. Trent as a solo talent.
Here's Trent against Nick Jackson. And it's like, I don't really know why do I care about these people? Like, how the Best Friends have been on television a lot, and I don't really know anything about their gimmick.
No. The only thing I know about is Orange Cassidy, because goddamn, that's just, it's so in your face and over the top that you really can't miss it. I was like, that's what I think about Best Friends. I'm like, oh, it's the guys who are with Orange Cassidy, and he does the thing where he doesn't care.
Yeah, when it's supposed to be the other way around. Like, so few video pack, like what they did with Alan here with his video package before the entrance, that was good. That builds his character into something that, I can identify and care about. They need to do that with more of their talent, because not everyone has been following the independent wrestling scene for the past 10 years and knows who all these guys are.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, if we're really thinking about this, maybe it might even be more fundamental than that, than even more fundamental than giving us a reason to care, which sounds weird, but when I think of Sean Spears and like with his segments with
Tully.
Oh, we just said it. Just said his name.
Tully Blanchard.
Yeah, yeah. Like those aren't like building to anything. He's just they're just doing their vignettes, their packages, and he has a special entrance that he comes out to where he gets up off of a chair. And even that's enough to be like, yes, that's him. That's the chairman.
He's the chairman. Yes, exactly. He's the chairman. He has his chair. He's managed by a 4 horsemen. He does these things. Like, he's gotten a lot of promo time relative to a lot of other people. So despite Sean Spears not being necessarily a guy that is going to excite a lot of people and sell a lot of tickets, he is, curiously enough, one of the more identifiable characters, and I care about his segments to a larger degree than I do someone, say, Trent.
Yeah, or even someone like Kenny Omega, who has guys sitting in the locker room that we're supposed to know who it is.
Omega has been booked worse by AEW than anything WWE could have done. And
my God,
if you disagree, you're just wrong. It's been bad, but they reset the records. They did Peter's clean slate idea. They reset the records, and he won tonight. So maybe they're going to move forward in the direction. But he feels like so much less of a star now than he did at the beginning of AEW's existence, and that's a big mistake.
Yeah, Kenny Omega is someone who you can book as legendary. You can be like, it's fucking Kenny, guys. He's coming out. He's gonna hit a gajillion V triggers. I mean, get your shit together.
He's the best bout machine, but he hasn't yet had the best match on a AEW card. It's just yeah. We'll see if this show as a whole was a step in the right direction. We'll see if they can build on it.
Walk away from the ledge, AEW. Promise you.
Cody tried a Cody cutter. They exchanged a lot of moves. Darby Allin did his thing where he lands and like slides around and gets right back into the action. Cody had a figure 4 at one point. Allin faced the break. He had a slam on the ramp and then tossed Allin back inside. Cody teased a superplex, but Allin turned it into a code red, which was a really cool spot. Allin hit a stunner. He teased the coffin drop, but Cody rolled onto the apron. Allin then hit the coffin drop. I almost called it the coffee drop. Hit the coffin drop on the apron, but Cody kind of got the knees up. That was clearly the implication, but visually was not great angle. Cody tried for cutter. Allin blocked it, but eventually Cody got in his I'm sorry, right. He charged into an exposed turnbuckle. Allin with the coffin drop again. Arn jumped up on the apron and started slapping his knee. Cody got the knees up on the move and then schoolboyed him for the win. So a cheap-ish win for Cody. Well, this was a good win because it established that Arn Anderson in Cody's corner is going to help him win matches. And he didn't like beat Allin like with his move. He didn't pin him 1, 2, 3 with the crossroads. So It was a competitive match. Allin had the match in his hands, but he made one little mistake and Cody was able to eke out a victory. So this was a good match. These two work well together. They advance several storylines efficiently. This is more of what they need to do on a regular basis. And
Keep
video
it up,
packages. before the matches for these people. What they did with Darby's video package was very good.
Just keep it going. This is a new year. I feel like they took the fall as just like their whole like surveying, data gathering sort of time.
Yeah, I think the week off they took, I
Changes.
hope at least that they sat down and were like, okay, this is what's working, this is what isn't working. Let's try to do more of what's working. And it's one show. We'll see if they continue this week. But so far so good in 2020.
Yeah.
SCU interviewed backstage. They did a Jacksonville Jaguars themed promo, and then they said the Young Bucks brought great offense, but they'd beat them with great defense. Sammy Guevara popped in and challenged Christopher Daniels to a match next week. Story is that he's over the hill. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way between Riho, Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker. It was more dynamic than most women's matches on AEW. It wasn't particularly great, but I don't know that I expect that from the AEW women's division.
Yeah, they're not ones who are going to put on a roof wall knocking down performance. In most contexts.
I'm still waiting on, like, I just got done talking about Candice LeRae and how it took me a while to see what everyone was talking about. I'm still waiting for that to happen with Britt Baker.
I really don't think I don't see it there. Like, I get you, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you on this.
Sometimes she shows up and has a pretty good match, but other times she just goes out and lays an egg. I don't know what to say. I can say that Riho eventually won this match. Baker kicked out immediately after the 3 count and then interrupted her backstage interview later in the show. I feel like they need to get this belt off of Riho as soon as possible. She's not bad, but I'm never going to turn to AEW because Riho has a segment going on. Someone like Chris Statlander, maybe, because she's got a goofy gimmick and she has a wrestling style that's different than pretty much anyone else in the women's division. Hikaru Shida, I still maintain, is probably the best worker in the division, but again, there's no, like, I have no concept of her character. I have no concept of any of these women's character except Britt Baker's a doctor, and Nyla Rose is big.
Riho's been wrestling since she was 9.
Yes. And Nyla Rose is big, and Riho smiles a lot. These are pretty weak characters.
You mentioned Hikaru Shida being a great worker. I agree. I think they would do well to have a feud between Statlander and Shida, in no small part, so that they also have something going on besides this Brandy Rhodes thing.
Yeah. Well,
which is nice, but it's a very maybe not. Maybe nice to overstate, but it's either way. It's a very slow burn.
Yeah. It seems like they're going to be moving forward with a program between Riho and Britt Baker, which at least will be like the first proper feud in the division, even if I'm not super excited about the prospect of having to watch a bunch of Riho Britt Baker matches. It will at least be something.
Yeah.
Alex Marvez interviewed Joey Janela, who got low blowed by Penelope Ford. And then Kip Sabian walked in and out of frame, exiting with Penelope Ford.
He was there, guys.
He indeed was. I guess that's going to be a feud. Why? I don't know. But hopefully they'll explain that. There was a short video package for the Dark Order. Uno was addressing an Exalted One. So apparently there's going to be another guy they're going to bring in for the Dark Order.
This is slowly becoming the wrestling version of Lost.
I've seen a lot of people who have a lot of faith in AEW's storytelling ability, suggesting that the Butcher, Blade, and Bunny, the Dark Order, and Nightmare Collective are all connected, and that Marty Scurll is going to come in to AEW and be, I guess, the Exalted One of the Dark Order and reveal that this was all part of his master plan to take over the company, and he's going to reform Villain Enterprises within AEW.
Y'all ain't Avengers. Stop it.
That's kind of my reaction to it, too. Would something like that be kind of cool on a level? Yes. But, like, you can bring Marty Scurll in as the leader of the Dark Order. That's fine. But to have the whole thing be connected, I think that might be a bridge too far.
It's problems in more ways than one, too. Not the first thing that sprung to my mind was now you have these three different groups now as one thing, you know.
It'd be like the corporate ministry in 1999 WWF. It doesn't work to have like the corporation and the ministry of darkness, working together. That just, I mean, granted, these gimmicks are a lot more similar, but like, where's the connection? They need to start. If they're going to do something like that, there needs to be some seed shown. But there's like the amount of conjecture in a prediction like that is simply startling.
Yeah. And the fact that they're all there together already is sort of like, because they're treading a little bit upon each other's aesthetic ground.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Just like we saw what happened when Jon Moxley wrestled against Trent.
Oh, Trent. They did the right thing and they put Moxley over strong. He didn't outright squash him, but the match was not super competitive, and he won with a paradigm shift. Two, actually. He hit one on the ramp and then rolled him into the ring for a second. It was a longer match than it should have been. Moxley is the number one contender. I don't know that he should be having long back and forth matches with Trent. But it wasn't too, like, Moxley took a good 70% of the match, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, like you said, they didn't squash him, but I don't think they're in a position to really have anyone get squashed. One, because their MO as a company, and two, because I don't know, all their jobber talent's tied up as creepers.
They need to get some people in that they get. Pay a local indie geek $50 to get squashed by Jon Moxley on live TV. They'll jump at the chance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard. It really isn't. But Moxley won, as he should. He should not lose for a long time, at least until his title match with Chris Jericho.
I was like, and at the very least until he makes this decision.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara came to the ring while Moxley was still celebrating, and he threw to a pre-tape from Chris Jericho, who, at the time of this show's airing, was in the air on his way to Tokyo. Jericho said he knows Moxley could join the Nightmare Collective or the Dark Order, but he wants to offer him a position of executive vice president in the Inner Circle. He wants him to lead the Inner Circle with him. And then he offered Moxley a Ford GT with a Mox vanity plate. And then Moxley said he always considered Jericho a friend, and he'll answer Jericho in person next week. So we'll see what happens there. I still maintain it is in the best interest of the story for them to have Moxley, at least under false pretenses, join the inner circle and then try to destroy the group from within. I think that would fit his character. And when their match comes, I think the time is right to pull the switch and put the belt on Moxley. Jericho was a great choice for first champion, but he is physically past his prime. And I think it's time for a younger guy to kind of carry the talent forward where he can have some better matches. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I heard Jericho's match against Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom was really good. But at least in AEW, he's not having super high quality matches, and I think
strength has absolutely been in his promo game.
Yes, which is important, no doubt.
Especially important in AEW.
Yes, but you know who else is a pretty good promo is one Jonathan Moxley. So you're not going to lose much there.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Guevara wrestled Dustin Rhodes after the match, or after this segment, and then Dustin attacked him at the opening bell of their match. Sammy ended up winning after a low blow, and he covered him. Rhodes took a lot of this match. Dustin Rhodes is still at, like, I think close to 50 years old. One of the better workers in the company. It's quite impressive to see the ageless wonder. You slap some face paint on him, you know, he looks 30.
Send him out there.
So I'm happy that he's having this late career, or this like PCO-esque run for himself later in life. Happy for the guy. He's overcome some pretty nasty personal demons. So on a personal note, I'm happy for the guy. Decker was interviewing Private Party at a bar. Hangman Page came up, served himself a drink. They jawed at each other, further teasing a Page heel turn, which is definitely going to come probably next week when he and Kenny team against Private Party. MJF and Wardlow entered. MJF cut a promo. He did a lot of the cheap heat tactics, and he laid down his terms for facing Cody. Stipulation 1 was they wrestle at Revolution. Cody touches MJF before the Revolution show. No match. Cody has to beat Wardlow in a steel cage match. Which is so dumb. They're going to really have Wardlow lose this early into his run. Stipulation 3, Cody has to get on all fours and let MJF whip him 10 times live on TNT. 10 was a very specific number. And yeah, that was like, I mean, I understand the idea behind all this, but number one, beating Wardlow this early feels like a mistake. I know not everyone needs to go on an undefeated streak, but the guy hasn't even had one match yet.
It's like sending Jake Hager out to get jobbed in his first shot.
Get jobbed in his first match. Jake Hager hasn't had a match yet either, but when he does, he should not lose that first match.
No. He needs to crush a man into a small metal cube.
Oh, man, I just realized that Jake Hager has not had a match on Dynamite yet. What the fuck are they doing?
Can we? That's going right under the banner. AEW. What the fuck are they doing?
Jen Decker interviewed the Jungle Boy, Marcus Stunt, and Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy say he's coming off the biggest match of his career, and that it'll be a big year for the three of them as a team and as individuals. And then Luchasaurus said something, but they were playing music over it, so I could not hear it.
In the classic AEW tradition,
as is tradition, yes.
It's nice that Marco Stunt joining the Lucha Express. That was a nice serendipitous sort of thing, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to see it. Something very natural.
Yeah, I mean it works. Uh, just stack them like nesting dolls. Um, I'm still waiting for them to come out with Jungle Boy on Luchasaurus's shoulders and Marco Stunt on Jungle Boy's shoulders, just like the Leaning Tower of Doom.
Yes.
Alex Marvez interviewed Riho backstage, and then Britt interrupted and verbally assaulted Riho for taking time off. Baker said she's been carrying the division and her dental practice on the side. Well, I can't speak for her dental practice, but she certainly has not been carrying this division anywhere of particular note. Michael Nakazawa translated.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't recognize the guy who I'm supposed to recognize as Kenny's best friend. Glad he really took the beating from Pac well, it seems.
Yeah, that really went a lot of places. I'm still reeling from the fallout of that thing that happened.
Yeah. These promos are like pre-taped, which makes all these audio issues even less forgivable. Like, I don't know what's up with AEW's truck, but they need to get better guys in that truck because holy fuck.
They had the halftime Heat B team. They poached them all.
Now, NXT and their really big episode with the Balor Cole match, commercial 3, had some issues, but that's like the one time in our like what, almost 4 years now of watching NXT that I've really noticed anything like that. And I believe most of their production is done by students at Full Sail University. So
that's just salt in the wound right there.
I mean, I'm sure under the guidance of like the WWE professionals.
Sure. That's a great fucking work study job.
Oh yeah. Kidding me? I'd love to be like the hard camera guy and be at every NXT show at Full Sail while getting paid to do so and earning college credit.
Yeah, that's a fucking deal right there.
That's the deal right there. Hangman Page joined the commentary team with a drink in hand. The graphic noted he'd been drinking, which I laughed at. I got a hearty laugh from me. They plugged Private Party versus Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Hangman Page on commentary was great. He got his story over. He advanced his own angles. And it was something useful, a device that they should really maybe look into using more often on some of these guys. Give the talent a chance to speak and tell a story, which is really what this whole wrestling thing is about.
Yeah. Not get them off of the YouTubes. Get them off of your little YouTube vlog show.
Yeah. So it was funny. It's like, you've been trying to distance yourself from the elite recently, haven't you, Adam? He's like, well, yeah, I've been trying, but apparently Kenny and I are teaming again next week, so I don't know. Channeling my frustrated energy as well. The elite wrestled and beat Pac and the Lucha Bros. This was a pretty good match. Pretty good 6-man. All told, Kenny Omega looked like Kenny Omega ought to look. He was put over pretty strong, ran wild, hit a lot of things. Pac at one point hit Omega with the Black Arrow, made a cover, but the Bucks saved it. The last second, Pac put the brutalizer on. Matt broke it up. Phoenix tagged in, tried a springboard kick. Omega kicked him out of the air and then hit the one-winged angel for the pin. So that was a pretty good main event and a much-needed win for the Bucks and Omega. So all their stars, or the people that they ought to push as stars, won on tonight's show. And there were no mind-numbingly dumb angles. So all in all, I'd say this was one of the better episodes of Dynamite that I have seen in quite some time.
Yes.
Hopefully they can continue the trend.
Yep. Keep on keeping on. AEW, may this year be the real sequel year. There's a lot of times where the sequel is better than the original. I'm hoping this is one of those. Yeah. They got their footing. Now they can just go for it. So I'd like to keep watching your show.
Yeah, me too. You got 11 more weeks to show significant turnaround before I give up on you. So this was a good show. Keep them like this. Stick around. But I am counting. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We'll be back probably later this week or next with regular reviews for the head-to-head, Dynamite, and NXT shows. We will have a full review of both nights of, well, maybe not full review, but we'll have a review of the big matches from both nights of Wrestle Kingdom coming eventually. I still have to watch night 2. Going to be interesting to figure out how I fit that in there. But we're going to try to get that out while Wrestle Kingdom is still somewhat relevant. So we'll see how we do there. Until next time, be well, stay safe, and keep your eyes peeled for the Saturn Slammy Award special.
Yeah. Slam like it's 1995, baby.
Baby.
Peace.